Well, thank you, Matt. Good morning and welcome to the Adult Education and Workforce Development Statewide Monthly Webinar. Joining us this morning in the room is the entire DWD Adult Education staff. I am Jerry Hafner. Maryland is in some meetings this morning, but she will join us a little bit later. Lots of good news. Over the last few weeks, many of our local adult education programs have held graduations. I know that I can speak for everyone, the entire DWD Adult Ed staff here in the room, that we really enjoy hearing the wonderful stories and experiencing firsthand the joys and the tears that our graduates have at these very special celebrations. Earlier this month, Wayne Township Adult Education spotlighted 6 graduates during their commencement ceremonies at Ben Davis High School. A 42-year-old HSE graduate told the story of initially buying a fake diploma and hiding the fact that she did not graduate from family and friends. A couple of weeks ago at graduation, she was beaming with joy. My title is Mother, Grandmother, and Caregiver. Today, I have a new title, Graduate. I wanted to give up, she admitted, but here I stand, a prosperous business owner. Another graduate spoke about coming to our country from South Africa. This is a country of opportunity, he said of the United States. A single father, his native language is French. It took him 3 opportunities to pass the HSE in English, but now he has a bright future ahead. He plans to become an HVAC tech. It's never too late to learn, he said. I don't plan to stop learning. Another graduate spoke, a 51-year-old widow with 5 sons, who had been informed by her employer that she must earn an HSE within 90 days or she would lose her job. The pressure was intense, but she didn't give up. She earned her HSE by the deadline and she retained her job. I've been out of school for a very long time, she told the audience. My inner conscience was my preservation. Whatever you want in life, the only thing stopping you is you. Some very great advice from our graduates. And I love this one. Finally, a dad, he was given a challenge by his son. The son challenged his dad to earn a high school diploma by using just a few words. Dad, if I can do it, you can do it. No excuses. Dad came through. He passed the HSE. We thank Wayne Township and to all the programs across our state that recognize our graduates. The springtime and early summer is indeed a very special time to celebrate these successes. Turning to IAACE, I mentioned this in the last statewide call, and I want to remind you again. The handouts and PowerPoints from the conference are posted. They're posted to the website that you see on your screen. And I'd like to point out specifically one of the presentations. One of the presentations that you'll find on the IAACE website was conducted by Mike Johnson of DRC CTB. I encourage you to look over his presentation as it relates to an upgrade to TABE 9 and 10 and the release of TABE 11 and 12. Online TABE 9 and 10 will be upgraded to the DRC Insight platform in August, according to Mike. The transition will likely take place over a 2-month period. The plan is to allow programs to pick a transition date day based on days that are provided by DRC, and more information will be forthcoming. Concerning tabs 11 and 12, the application was submitted for NRS approval to the U.S. Department of Education last fall. Mike reports there is no word yet when it will be approved, but please be aware that tab 9 and 10 is approved through at least 2019. Here's a slide that Mike provided, kind of giving you a brief description of the content, what we can expect for tab 11 and 12. And what you see in some of the descriptors under reading, math, and language are words or phrases like life, work-related situations, meaningful context, and applied in life. So I encourage you to take a look at those slides. Again, they can be accessed at the IAACE conference website. Mike also provides his contact information on one of the slides, and also I encourage you to look at the website tabtest.com for more information. Turning to the online task readiness test, versions 4 and 5 will be released soon. There will be technical training, a 1-hour live webinar that will focus on the process for preparing for online testing and downloading the task online readiness application. These sessions are for test coordinators and/or technology staff. The training will take place next Wednesday. There is a morning and afternoon session. The link to register is on your screen, so please take advantage of learning more about the online readiness assessments. I'd like to have Jessica come over and talk a little bit about Work Indiana. So Jessica Gray.
Hey everyone, Nathan is unexpectedly out this morning, so I will be reading through his slides, so please bear with me. Please review the chart on the screen to see updated numbers as of yesterday morning. I have included the Indiana Department of Corrections numbers to the bottom of the chart under the totals row. Overall, we are continuing to finish strong. I would like to call your attention to the 144 students still enrolled. It is essential that we continue to help assist these students over the finish line. I know there are several programs currently serving students and finishing up classes, but let's keep focused on the 144 and help them the best we can to complete their certification. Additionally, I have been working with several of you regarding the error reports that have been sent out. This process has been a little more intensive than I originally thought it would be. I'm sure some of you are saying, imagine that. Anyways, we are continuing to work on our end to move the students with the correct information and status off of these reports and onto the stats by region report I am presenting now. As of yesterday morning, there are 175 students on the error report, 60 on the completions report, and 106 on the enrollments report. Several of these students entered into the Work Indiana portal have JAG designations and other errors that you may or may not be able to correct at this time. We are currently working on resolving these students. It is hard to know exactly where they will come out on the stats by region report, but as soon as we have an update on this, we will let you know. We reviewed this last time. I want to circle back around on this because it is important to keep in mind the employer need as we head into the 2017-2018 program year. Commissioner Braun provides some quick highlights during the IAACE conference. Some of those are, there are 21,530 jobs available per year that require a certification offered through Work Indiana. In addition, 16,000 jobs may be added to this total if we expand our certification offerings, which Nathan and I are working on as we speak. Finally, the Department of Workforce Development has an adult education goal of enrolling 20% of all adult education students into Work Indiana program. Additionally, Nathan just returned from a leadership development program in advanced manufacturing education provided by Purdue University. His thoughts on that were that employers throughout the state are literally chopping at the bit for employees. During his week there, he was given incredible resources, listened to employers throughout the state, and even toured the plants of SIA and CAP. While advanced manufacturing is not the only focus, as you can see, it is the sector with the most job availability, and the employers desperately need them. Later this year, I will be hosting a webinar. Nathan will be hosting a webinar series to help educate and review employer needs throughout the state and provide some networking opportunities for you and your region to connect with the employers and training providers. We are in the process of completing the Work Indiana grant. We are hoping to have the grant applications out within the next couple of weeks, and will provide extensive details on the grant application process. Once the applications are out, the application will be between 4 to 6 weeks, and again, we will provide you specifics once the grant writing process is complete. If you have any questions on anything stated today, please reach out to me via email. I will say that at this time, Nathan does not have any more information to provide you regarding the grant application at this point. Nor do I. Just thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Here's Donna Lovelady to provide some reminders in regard to 2016-17 fiscal matters.
Hello, everybody. Our fiscal reminders start with grantees being reminded that any items or services that you purchase with your PY16 ABE or ELC money must be done before June 30th. This means if you have an item that you've ordered but it will not be received until after June 30th, you must cancel the order. You can begin July 1st reordering that item or service and then pay for it with your PY17 funds. The second item, PY16 grant closeouts, are due to the DWD Finance Office by August 15th, 2017. I cannot make that stand out any bigger than it does on your screen. You may continue to request reimbursements on your PY16 funds until your closeout packet is submitted. Our DWD Finance Office has been very lenient in the past with late submissions of the closeout packet. However, they have given August 15th as a firm deadline this year. So be watching your email for your closeout packet from the DWD Finance Office soon. The third point, grantees may access your PY17 funds as soon as your ABE and or your IELCE contract is fully executed. Hold your reimbursements until you are notified that your contract is finalized. The contract will be sent to the grant contact that was listed on your ABE or IELCE application. If there have been any changes to that since the application was submitted, please send us an email at the adulted@dwd.in.gov mailbox this week to let us know the new name and new email address so we can get that to our contract office. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Donna. Let's turn to our grants. Last month, grant award letters were emailed to 33 adult education providers across the state. The awards were based on the adult education and integrated English literacy and civics education competitions that we held this spring. Nearly $23 million was awarded to providers in state and federal adult education funds. 7 providers were awarded IELCA funding. These allocations totaled $590,000. As a reminder, and as was part of the grant application, please be reminded that the grant award is a single-year award and is renewable contingent upon the reallocation, of course, of state and federal funds. The exercise of grant awards after the first year of funding will be made on a program-by-program basis. Renewals will be contingent upon the grant recipient's ability to, number one, to successfully implement the terms of the grant, and number two, to meet performance expectations. Funding in successive grant years will include grantee program performance. The chart that you have on your screen, and as we begin a new program year next month, here is the performance metrics for 2017-18, which will be used to make funding decisions in the succeeding year, 2018-2019. More information will be forthcoming, but we wanted you to have this chart and this information as we begin the new program year. As you can see on the chart, the metrics include enrollment, both in adult education and enrollment in integrated education and training, IET, measurable skill gains, entry into training or post-secondary education, receipt of an industry-recognized certification, attainment of an HSC, and employment. Also, I would like to remind the new grantees for this coming year that Indiana Career Explorer is required in the first 12 hours of attendance. The column on the right on your screen outlines the yearly breakdown of administrations. Some students may have been assessed in prior years, but even taking that into consideration, based on current enrollment, we are not close to having all of our students being assessed. So be reminded, for 2017-18, Indiana Career Explorer is required to be administered in the first 12 hours of attendance.
Good morning, everybody. This is Marilyn. This next slide, we wanted to discuss.
Hey, we lost Marilyn. I did not mute her. Scott, did you hear me? All right, everybody, the conference line that they were using just dropped. They'll be back shortly. So just a moment and you'll get to hear Marilyn. So as soon as they call in, we'll get going again. Apologize.
Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties with our phone.
All right, we'll try this again. Hi, this is Marilyn. Molly, I want to let you know I did see your question about where to put ICE into inters, and we'll get back to you on that one. So right now I want to discuss with you a process that's going to take place in order to approve IETs. So for an IET to a class to be designated as such, it has to be marked that way in inters. And the only way for that to take place now is for one of our data people to mark that class as an IET class. What we're going to go over here is the process to make that happen, okay? So you can see on your form, on your screen that there is a form that will be available to you to submit along with your curriculum to your adult education provider, to your adult education coordinator. I'm sorry, it's too early this morning or I haven't had enough coffee. The AEC will consider and make sure that the provider was actually allocated funding for an IET or an IELCE, that the curriculum includes all three components of the IET, the literacy and adult education component, the workforce prep, as well as occupational training. If all of that is in order, your AEC will submit that application here to our central office, to Jessica Gray. If you are missing any components, the AEC will work with you to get everything in order and ready for submission. In the office, we will review the class, make sure that it's meeting our 40 hours up to 14-week requirement, make sure that the high school diploma is not a requirement for entry into the class, and again, review the IET components. Specifically, we will have some of our staff reviewing the curriculum and making sure that it is offered concurrently and contextually within the scope of the class, that it ends in a certification that is industry recognized and in demand in your region. We will also take a look at the budget for this class. You cannot see very well, I don't believe, on your screen, but there's some funding questions there. They'll be taking a look at that. If you are proposing that you will use Work Indiana funding, we will be checking to make sure that this class is on the ETPL. If everything is in order and it is approved, we will notify Matt Kreitz or Bren, who will make the necessary check the box on your class in the inter-system. If there are any concerns or issues, we'll return your form to the AEC, who again will work with you to get your application and your class within the requirements of an IET. Are there any questions on that?
Yes, I have questions. So Marilyn, first, if the program has an IET, but they did not apply for funding for it, do we still need to fill out the form? That's for Brenda Utter.
Yes, we would like to know about those classes as well. Yes, please fill out the form. If you want to fill out this form, if you want your class to be noted as an IET and enters.
Okay. Second, I've got a whole bunch of IEC questions about the 12 hours. Is that new for 17-18, or is that something that's being added for 17-18?
ICE, it has always been a recommendation that students complete the Indiana Career Explorer in the first 12 hours of enrollment. That is not new. The fact that we are now requiring it is.
Okay, so that will be required as of July 1.
July 1.
Okay. The next one. Does ICE have a paper-based version for Indiana Department of Corrections?
No, it does not, and we will get back with IDOC on that question.
Okay. Then Angela Refo, just to clarify, every adult education program must have an IET class, correct?
No, that is not correct. IET is a service you may offer. It is one that we are strongly encouraging you to do, and as you saw in the performance metrics that Jerry discussed earlier, performance-wise, there are strong reasons why you want to develop an IET, but no, it is not a requirement for every program.
All right, so now another question. IEC is also for ELC?
IELCE, that is the 7 providers that are offering what we formerly called EL Civics, now called Integrated Education Language.
Integrated Education.
IELCE.
Integrated English Literacy. Hold on.
Well, they wanted to know if those students have to take the ICE as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, IELCE.
I actually had to look at the acronym to
IELCE,
remember.
You do have to submit an IET approval form. All IELCE classes are IETs by definition.
No, Marilyn, do those students have to take the ICE?
Yes.
Okay, so any student in INTERS that you are providing adult education services to within the 12 hours must take the ICE within the first 12 hours.
We're going to verify that there is a access to Spanish language. We believe there is, but can we hold on that until we get back to you? We want to make sure that we can access the Spanish language version.
So, sorry. So everybody that's asking about the ICE for ELL students will verify.
Yep.
And also with other languages, Washington Township.
Yes, we'll verify that.
I'm getting all sorts of stuff. Okay, we got it. We got it. We'll let you know. Okay, I think we can move on. Any other questions about the IETs or ICEs? Did we get them all, I hope? Okay, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, Matt, you're next. You've got information about INTERS along with INTERS training day, so it's your show.
Oh, wow. I didn't know I was up so soon. Okay, so go ahead and go to the next slide, Scott, please. So originally, we coded Table 4 and 4B. We made a whole bunch of changes, and I told you we got it all fixed, and it was good. One of those changes that we had made was that during the program year, a student had to earn their HSE by June 30th of the current program year that they are enrolled in. If they earned it outside of that, the way we read and what we were initially informed was that any HSEs that did not get taken or earned before June 30th of the current program year did not count as an NRS gain. We found out last week that is not actually the case. Those HSEs do count if a student who, let's say, exits in June of this year has at least 1 hour of enrollment in the following program year and then passes their HSE before June 30th of the next year. Because of the period of participation, you will and the state will get credit for that HSE. To go along with that, go ahead and go to the next slide, Scott. Originally, we were told that every student had to acquire 12 hours in the current program year, and Table 4 was changed for that. So you had a lot of students that were not enrolled because they had 6 hours in 15-16 and 6 hours in 16-17 for a total of 12. They never had a break, but because they didn't have 12 for the current program year, they were not enrolled. We reverted that back last week as well. So those hours do span still for a continuous enrollment and a period of participation to be counted as enrolled. So do we have any questions on that? We went ahead and changed Table 4 back to basically, it's almost the same as how it's always been working before, where a student could roll over. They had 12 hours over the lap of the 2 program years, and they were counted as enrolled. So nothing's really changed on that. The HSE portion did change. Okay, the 90-day exit rule has nothing to do with an NRS gain. The 90-day exit rule had to do with an incentive point that no longer exists. They had to have it within 90 days of exit for you to get the points, not for it to count on it as an NRS gain. I got another question on the IETs. We'll come back to that, Molly. You can email us and we'll get you that. So any more questions about how Table 4 just changed last week? I know I got a couple of emails, people really run them, and yeah, go back to the previous screen, Scott, please. I got a question for that. This was just an example, Angela. So basically what it was doing before last week was if the student did not get the HSE before June 30th of this year, this month, you would not get credit for it. If they did not have 12 hours in this year starting July 1 of 2016, they were not enrolled. That's no longer the case anymore. They will still get credit for all those HSEs. Does that clear it up for you, Angela? Okay, so we're going to move on. Go ahead, Scott. Go forward. Recognize will 90-day exit date still. Yeah, okay. I got a question from Kathy Meyer. Yes, Kathy. Any student who does not attend for 90 days will be automatically exited from the system. That will be one period of participation. If they come back after that 90 days, that will be the start of a second period of participation for the year, and you'll be able to see that stuff in the audit reports. Rebecca Reiner asked, which year does the HSE count for? Actually, I don't remember what we were told on that. Scott, do you remember? Does it count for the previous year or the new program year? I think we decided it was the new program year.
It will count for, yeah, Matt, this is Scott. It will count for the new program year.
Okay.
So, right, if they get 30 hours of attendance this year and then 2 hours of attendance on July 1st and then get their HSE, that will count on
17-18.
17-18, correct.
Okay. Do they need to be pre-tested? Do we know that? I don't think they do.
No, they do not.
Right.
Yeah, no, they do not.
Right. That's what I thought we had said. Okay. So any further questions on how that's going to work? All right. So if a student sits for the readiness test and for the task test and are allowed to count those as attendance, yes. Yes, you can count those attendance hours. I'm guessing, correct? Anybody want to disagree with me on that in the office up there?
Yes, you may count those hours.
Okay, good. All right, let's move on to the next slide because this is an important one. Everybody's been asking me. Everybody's been asking me when we're having training dates. And guess what? Next slide, please. Here they are. Starting June 19th, we will hold 4 weeks of training here at the central office at the Eastside Lab where we always have it. We are taking the week of July 4th off. And you can see I didn't change the names. Training is going to be a little different, but you will need to email me. Space is limited to 15 people. I highly recommend, I know if you've been an Inters user forever and a day, that you go ahead and at least try to get into 102 and a reports training because the reports are new and there's new information on that. But email me the date that you would like. All trainings will start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they will run through, go ahead to the next slide, Scott, to the 21st of July. We're flexible that we may offer some more. We've talked about it, but we feel right now that we could get everybody in these 4 weeks. I know that we have new people out there that have never even seen Enters, so we'll get you in there. What we do need is if you're sending new data entry people, make sure that we have their names and accounts set up first before they get there, so we don't have to take the time to do that in the classroom. I'll make sure that the test build has all of their stuff in it prior to them getting there. So any questions on the training? So email me. It's mkreitz@dwd.in.gov, and I'll get you on the schedule. Becky asked, what's the teacher website? That is a website just for teachers who can put in attendance and testing in there. Oh, yes, these are live trainings. Yes, I will be in front of you speaking. You will be doing hands-on data entry into Enters and learning the system. Any other questions? It depends, Rebecca, on how long it is per day. The reports training may go until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but for the most part, they're until 2-ish Eastern time. Depends on questions, any technical issues, but we start from 9. We can take a lunch break or not take a lunch break. That's up to the class at the time. So, any other questions? All right, if not, I'm good. You guys have a great day, and thanks.
Thank you very much, Matt. We had a question from Becky about counting task test hours. We can count the readiness assessment that you give to your students as part of your attendance hours. The actual taking of the HSE, you cannot count. So the readiness assessment that you would give students prior to the actual HSE, you certainly may count those as classroom hours. You cannot count the actual HSE exam as part of your classroom hours. So, moving on. We're coming very close to the end of this program year in a couple of weeks. The program year ends on June 30th. We're going to be doing a lot of data cleanup that we will talk about in just a couple of minutes. But please do this. If you know about an outcome, please report it. In addition to the pre- and post-assessments using TABE, if you know about a student getting a job, please report it in the Enters. Enrollment in post-secondary or other training, please report it. Receipt, obviously, of a post-secondary credential. We track that and have that information, but if you know it, please report it. Know it, report it. This screen shows you a brief summary of state data as of last Friday. It relates to Table 4. Enrollment as of last Friday was just under 26,000 students. Enrollment, as you can see, in program year 2015-16 was just over 28,000. Measurable skill gains on Table 4 are up 5 percentage points as of last Friday. In addition to pre- and post-testing and the measurable skill gains that you receive from that, please also remember that we now include the receipt of a high school diploma and 2, the exit and enrollment in post-secondary education or training during the program year. We count those as well as measurable skill gains. So thank you, keep up the good work. But that is just a quick synopsis of where we're at a couple weeks before the end of the program year. We have an early deadline to submit our state annual performance report to the U.S. Department of Education. This is an earlier deadline than in the past. How does this impact you? For local programs, adult education providers, your enters data must be cleaned and submitted by August 10th, 2017. I've already asked our adult education coordinators, your regional adult education folks, to work with you, to look at your data, and to assist you in this process. But please pay attention to your data, particularly if you see these error reports, and this is what they will be contacting you about. If you have an error that shows invalid age, no parent signature, if a race is missing, an application date is missing, or a duplicate enrollment, pay very close attention to these and circle in and correct these errors in enters. This is our state table 4, again, as of Friday, and I've highlighted on the screen the number of invalid ages, no parent signatures. If you look at no parent signature, we have 125. We have several duplicates. All this information, all these errors need to be cleaned up by August 10th. So our adult education coordinators will be working with us, with you, to get the data cleaned up, as well as Matt and Bryn.
Hey, Jerry, can I add one thing?
Yes, you may.
Okay, just so everybody understands. On these errors, if you look at the no app date, if you clean up those 103, 103 of the age and parent signatures will go away, because enters cannot calculate what the student's age is at application. So if those 103 records get cleaned up, 103 of the age errors go away instantly. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Very good.
This is Marilyn again. I just wanted to let you know something on the year-end reporting as well, because we have to report by October 1st to the Fed. We will have to report before we get the data that we use to match for post-secondary enrollment. Because of this, it's really important, going back to the slide that Jerry talked about earlier, if you know it, report it. If you know students have entered Ivy Tech or another post-secondary institution, put it into their record, because we will not have a data match for that this year.
Thank you, Marilyn. We're now going to turn to professional development. We have Marva and Dan here, and they will talk a little bit about the Professional Development Facilitator Network. Marva?
Thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everybody. We've talked about this before, and we're about halfway there on getting the number of professional development facilitators that we need. This is to ensure that every program has a PD plan in place, and what we want is a local person to help be a part of the team to put that in place, because you know what your struggles are. We'll also be using a lot of data. And this is the first part of a long strategic plan for professional development, is to put this PD facilitator network in place. You can kind of see how we've put into buckets some of our priorities. The first one being the facilitator network, the basics and more, which would be to take those low to mid-level students on Table 4 and move them forward so that they can go out of the program and enter training or get a job. Struggling programs, based on your data, we'll be honing in on the state's lower performing programs. And then we have several PD federal priorities, such as evidence-based reading and others that will come. So the PD Facilitator Network, in case you haven't heard this yet, will be about 30 people. We want our best and brightest ABE and ESL instructors to help develop these plans. So this is what we want them to do. They're going to be assisting us, Dan and Jerry and I, in developing new teacher training, assisting in the delivery of NRS TABE training along with the AECs, new teacher handbook, accommodations training, and to just model effective teaching strategies for teachers who may be struggling or for new teachers. Here's who we're looking for. We're going to look at data in the application process, the individual teacher data. We would like to see your adult education teaching experience. You'll need to have a little bit of flexibility in your scheduling. We are thinking it's going to take about 5 hours a month, and that you might have to travel a little bit locally, which will be taken care of in your very generous, I think, stipend. You need to be able to interpret data well and understand the NRS tables that affect your performance, and that starting July 1 will affect your funding. So it's never been more important to understand that data and know what you need to do starting July 1 for those performance incentives. And your teaching strategies, and if you do have presentation skills, if you've presented before, that's a plus for us. How will we find you? We have an application process. Again, we have about half in of the number that we need, and then we'll do a follow-up with a phone interview, at which point we will name the PD facilitators, and we will start to work with the program director, the PD facilitator, and one or two of us from the state to start developing a local PD plan. And I'm going to turn this over to Dan now, because he's working very hard on this project with me to kind of explain to you how we're going to choose the PDFs. But I do encourage all the local program directors, please send us a candidate. If you don't, you're going to get one of us. And I think you'd probably rather have someone from your own program rather than somebody from the state driving this. So, Dan?
Okay, those of you who know me know that my bosses have told me not to speak a lot. And I have in the past not spoke at all during these. I left it to Marva just to make sure that didn't happen. But this is something very near and dear to my heart, this PD network, because it's kind of a reincarnation of what has happened in the past. And I myself was involved with it, and I found it a very transforming experience. Right now, we have, as Marva said, we're about halfway there. We have a number of applications in. We've started going through them, and I have to admit, these are some incredible teachers. Very good data, experience, and many of them I have had the pleasure of meeting and knowing very well. And another thing is exciting is a lot of these adult applications we have thus far are also ELL teachers. So a lot of you in the field, especially ELL, can rest assured that you're going to have a strong voice at the table. Again, we talked about demonstrated performance. We're looking at the table 4s right now. What we have in is really good teaching experience. We have experienced teachers. We actually do have some individuals who've had some experience in the old PD project, so they can be of help as well. And next slide. Right now, basically, the applications have gone out. We have the date was last Friday to be due. As Marva said, we're short. We had the AECs to send another call out. We have another deadline, which was technically this Friday. And because we do have the interviews are starting next week for those that we do have. In June, as Marva said, once we finish these interviews, we'll at least announce the first batch we have. and technically everything begins July of 2017. Okay, now here's the important part going through the training. We're going to offer 3 training dates in August. Now, these training dates are going to be, as you see on the slide here, we're going to offer a Southern training, a Central, and North. So in South is Fort Branch, Central is going to be Indianapolis, and North in Elkhart. So what you need to do is you need to figure out which of these locations would be closest for you, because this will be the first of a number of training dates we'll have throughout the year. These trainings, what's very important is that the people who will be participating will be the PDFs, the AECs, and the program director must be there, because this will be the very beginning when we start talking about the local PD plan. And obviously you'll have local issues, but we have also a lot of state. Because in looking at this data, we're finding a lot of programs have a lot of similar strengths and weaknesses. So you need to make sure that the director is there as well, because we will be going on PD plan, what it looks like, how it will be filled out, because it will have to go, when it's completed, it will go to the AEC to look at, and then if they see something missing, they'll get with the PDF, because at that point it will come to me, Marva, and Jerry, because all local PD plans will have to be approved by the state. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Let's turn our attention to our folks, particularly from JAG, our youth team. They could not be here this morning, but they provided a lengthy report that I'd like to sort of go over with you. On your screen, you have the highest graduation rate ever. Congratulations to JAG Indiana for hitting the 5 of 5 goal for the 3rd straight year. The 5 of 5 mark is the gold standard for JAG National, and it culminates an immense amount of dedication and hard work across the state by our JAG staff and students. The 5 of 5 for a multi-year program calls for a 90% graduation rate. Indiana achieved its highest graduation rate ever, 95%, which is 6% higher than the state average. In other categories, we hit 74% in job placement, which includes those entering military, and 89% in the positive outcome category, which refers to students who segue into a job, military service, or post-secondary education after graduation. 91% of the students who are in a positive outcome are full-time, which could be a combination of part-time school and part-time work, and 77% of those working are working full-time. Additionally, a big thank you to the adult education teachers and instructors who helped increase the student graduation rate by 10% from June 2016 to our end-of-year results. You can also see the metrics for the alternative education programs, which are typically credit recovery models and serving students with even more barriers. Several of the goals are slightly different from a typical in-school program, but we surpassed all of them, and we're most proud that our students are graduating from high school. This is our JAG team celebrating the achievement, and you may notice one new face in the back row. That's our summer intern, Sally Wolf. Sally is a student at Miami University of Ohio studying psychology, and she will be spending the bulk of her summer overhauling the JAG Indiana and out-of-school program curriculum. She will be heading up our volunteer curriculum committee of JAG teachers and coordinators. Their first topic will be tackling financial literacy information, which we will be sure to share with all of our partners. JAG Indiana will be busy this summer ramping up for another successful year, and that starts with our summer trainings. We are hosting our project-based learning training today and tomorrow at Franklin College. The JAG Summer Training Seminar in Indianapolis is on June 22nd and 23rd. And then several of the JAG team will be in Las Vegas for the national training from July 10th to the 14th. Now, Dan DeVeers and Nathan Storm won't be in Las Vegas, but they are scheduled to present at the all-staff event in June, blending employability skills curriculum by strand. Although she's not pictured, we're going to show a picture in just a second. We're also excited that Beth Marshall will be spending some time assisting the youth team with some much-needed administrative support. The rest of her time will be spent supporting the adult education team. And finally, in an effort to continually share information on DWD's Youth Initiatives team and connect you with state and local resources, simply send a quick email to Brianna Morse at the email on your screen to receive the biweekly newsletter. This will connect you with resources to help you in the classroom, professional development opportunities that you might benefit from, and news that could affect the youth that you serve. Following the positive response from last year's December training, DWD's youth team will be hosting another out-of-school or young adult services summit on October 5th, 2017. This is a great opportunity for DWD youth case managers and partners like adult educators who network and learn from each other. More information will be coming in the coming months. Enhancements continue to be made within Indiana Career Explorer. You can schedule your training request at the email address there on your screen. And finally, the NGA Policy Academy on Work-Based Learning concludes on June 30th in a couple of weeks. Indiana has been asked to participate in Phase 2, serving as a leader state and continuing to expand awareness about work-based learning.
Jerry, I got a question real quick, back to professional development that I missed, sorry. All right, so I got a question from Dave Bartlett. Will it be every program director that needs to attend or just the ones that have one of their individuals as a PDF?
Okay, what it will be is that the directors that we're looking at are those who are program directors. Now, if a program director has sub-grant recipients, then it would be for them to invite the local program directors. Does that make sense? Okay, the fiscal agent going through.
I have another question about Indiana Career Explorer. So the question is, just to be clear about Indiana Career Explorer, if we already have this assessment on the student, we do not need to give them the ICE when they return to our program?
Hold on just a second, guys.
Oh, I think they're going to finish the question about the director.
Okay, I had to confer with this on terminology. Every physical agent director must be there at the meeting with the PDF.
Okay, so Dave, do you understand that? Every fiscal agent director, if you are the ABE director and you are also the fiscal agent, you must be at those meetings. Does that clear that up? Newcastle wants to see the dates of that again. Sorry, I'm making us go way back.
And these slides will be sent out in the next couple of days.
They're saying that the PD Central meeting is also the IAACE board meeting date.
We will look at that date and we may change it. And we'll get that information out to you.
Okay, I think I got Dave covered, but there were some more questions pop up from that. Donna, you want to show them those questions?
She is right now.
Okay.
Okay.
If any of them that come in private, I'll let you know.
Okay, which question are we looking at? I'm sorry. The very, do you mean local program coordinator? What this is that the PDF will be there, will be at the meeting, as well as the fiscal agent. Now, in some cases, the fiscal agent must be there because they are the actual program director. Now, at that point, for example, if we have a region that has, a large region that has a number of sub-grantees, personally, it would be good if those sub-grantees would also attend, the directors, but you would need to get with your fiscal agent, okay? Because I can't, I don't personally feel comfortable making that decision. I can give a suggestion, but does that make sense?
We are not referencing program coordinators. We want to be clear here. We're not talking about titles. Whoever is the program director for your program, if you are the fiscal agent of that program, then your program director, whoever is coordinating is under program direction, needs to be in attendance at the PD facilitator training. If you are a subrecipient under a fiscal agent, you need to get with your fiscal agent and determine whether you will attend or not.
All righty, let's go ahead and move on. We'll take the final questions at the end. We just have a few more slides to go through. Turning to IAACE. As mentioned at the beginning of Statewide Call, I remind you again, and IAACE would like to remind you the conference materials and handouts are available on their website. And as a reminder, don't forget to share your stories with IAACE. This will help IAACE spread the word about adult education. COABE and the Ohio Association for Adult and Continuing Education will host a regional institute on October 5th through October 7th in Cleveland. Registration will open soon. The call for presenters is open through July 7th. And finally, if you are an IAACE member and you're not receiving weekly emails from COABE, please let IAACE know by emailing IAACE, the number 2 at gmail.com. We are very, very pleased to welcome, as I mentioned in the Youth Initiative slides, Beth Marshall. We'd like to welcome her to the Adult Education and Youth teams. A little bit about Beth. She formerly worked with the BMV before joining Adult Education on May 22nd. She is a GED graduate who studied at the Greenfield Learning Center, which was then part of the Newcastle Community Schools Adult Education Program. I know for everyone in the room and you out there as well, welcome, Beth. Welcome to the team. So what other questions do we have, Matt, that need to be answered, sir?
Okay, so you got the big one about the fiscal agent. Does the fiscal agent director choose one person from each local site to represent their site, subgrantee, or is there just one representative from the fiscal agent's area?
That is their call.
So, Rebecca, that is your call.
One or
and then
more.
Then I got another one. Will the regional COAB count for DWD PD requirement? So if they go to that regional COAB meeting, will that count towards professional development for DWD?
What we have said in the past, Matt, is that we first need to see, and I have indicated this to IAACE, we actually need to see what they're presenting and the schedule, and when we see that agenda, we will then make a decision on whether that will count for the professional development.
Okay, I think we got that. I think we got them all. Donna, do you see any that maybe I missed? I think we got them.
We're good.
Any other questions?
Okay, very good. The next Adult Education and Workforce Development statewide webinar will be August 9th at 10 a.m. We're going to skip the month of July because we know many of you will be on vacation. Again, thank you for your patience this morning, especially through some of the technology glitches that we experienced. Please join us in August, and again, thank you very, very much for your participation today.